Hey y'all, Ebony here, and I want to talk to y'all about how to find and hire a virtual assistant. And so, this is going to be very crucial for many business owners, especially if you're a small business owner, if you're a solopreneur, if you're a mompreneur, if you're a service based professional, whoever it is, right? If you're looking to hire a virtual assistant, whether this person is a general VA, whether this person is specialized, if you're needing to delegate tasks, if you're needing to lighten your workload, if you're needing a specific support person for your launches, this video is going to help you through that entire process, right? And so let's get started. One of the things I tell people who are saying they're ready to hire, but they don't know all the details in it, the first thing I'm going to tell you to do is create a list, right? Before you decide, make a decision on hiring somebody, before you begin spending money with somebody, write out a list of all the things that you do specifically, right? Write that list down, the things that you do specifically. And then I tell you to do two things. For all of the things that you do that you need to delegate, put a D next to it. For all of the things that you do that can be automated by using a system, a tool, or AI or whatever, put an A by it, right? So you're going to have a list, everything that you do in your business every single day. And you're going to either delegate, automate, and then everything else is going to be the things that you absolutely have to do, right? From there, now you know, okay, I need to either find somebody who can automate this process for me for all of the things that need to be automated. So you may hire somebody specifically to set up your systems, to automate everything, to make everything flow smoothly. And there may be somebody who's going to work with you for about 2 to 3 months to set up all of your things, right? And then you're gonna, all the things that needs to be delegated, you're going to basically come up with a job description, and you're going to be like, okay, this goes mostly with executive assistants, this goes mostly with someone who does operations, this is mostly for somebody who does social media management, this someone who is able to connect me with certain type of people, or pitch my services, my skills to a certain type of people, right? And so now that you know what tasks you need to offload, now that you know what type of person you want to hire, now you're going to begin to figure out, okay, these are my needs. This is the person. Here's my job description. I'm going to now craft this job description, and I'm going to make sure I know where I want to put it. Make sure that you're specific in your job description, that you're communicating the job title, the responsibilities, the skills that you require. You may say, hey, in order to do this, I know that I use certain tools. You need to make sure that you have those tools listed. There's also people who can help you come up with job descriptions and to vet the people who are applying, right? VAs can do that too. I've helped clients do that. Also, your working hours, you need to be able to communicate like, hey, I want somebody who is able to operate in Eastern Standard Time Zone. I want somebody who can operate in Pacific Standard Time Zone. I want somebody who can work between the hours of 6 a.m. and 1 p.m. You need to communicate all of those things so that virtual assistants know if they want to even spend their time applying, right? Also, you want to be able to include a pay range. I know a lot of people are like, I don't want to include a pay range. I just want to see what kind of comes in. But you save yourself time when you communicate at least your basic pay range, or starting at, or the rate that it won't go above, right? So if you're someone who's like, hey, I'm looking for somebody who I can pay $10 an hour, then someone like me who may charge, $60, $75 an hour, I know not to apply for you, because it's going to be very difficult for me to get you to jump from $10 an hour to $75 an hour, right? And so if you already include that, you can save time looking at the applications who's going to ask for this amount of money, right? Okay, so you want to be able to craft a very good job description, and then you need to know where to actually find virtual assistants. So there's going to be many different outlets that you can find a virtual assistant on. One way, obviously, is going to be your network. If you have other friends who are in the service-based professional business who is an entrepreneur, always go to your network first, because they'll be able to find you or refer someone to you who they've already validated, who they've already used, all of the things, right? So go to your network first to see if they already know somebody who they can recommend to you. Outside of that, I would go to your personal social media pages, because you may be friends with somebody on social media who you follow, but you may have not known that they were a virtual assistant, or you may have forgotten that they were a virtual assistant. Go to your network first. After you go to your other person's network, make sure you're saying, hey guys, I'm hiring for this position on your page. And then people who follow you, they're already familiar with the content that you produce, with the work that you do. Now they have an opportunity to connect with you. Like, hey, girl, I've been following you for 6 years. I would love to support you in that area. Woody, woody, woo. And so then they can come up with, if they want to apply for the position or not. Outside of those two things, you can also have other people post your job opportunity in virtual assistant Facebook groups. So you can, build out the list of people who are applying. You can also go to places like Upwork, Fiverr, LinkedIn. Those are going to be places as well. There's also different companies and blogs that actually will allow you to pay them to be able to send your job description out to their network. So you can find those places too. But like I said, the two main ones I recommend is you going to your network of friends who may already have, referrals for virtual assistants, and then also going to your personal network of people via like social media, or if you know someone personally, that way you already have a relationship, or they already may be familiar with you, versus someone who has never heard of you, hasn't done the research, don't even know what you do, right? And they're like, hey, I want to apply just because they need a job, right? And then after that, if you have no options to choose from, then you can go to places like LinkedIn, Upwork, Fiverr, and then those virtual assistant groups and networks. All right. So now we've crafted our job description. We know exactly where to go, and we're now posting our job descriptions out. Now we should be getting applications in. And so now that we have applications coming in, you want to make sure that you know what your capacity is. One thing I know for sure, depending on what kind of job application you've put out, there's going to be hundreds of people who are going to flood your application process, right? And so if your thing is like, send me an email with your resume, just know you're probably going, depending on what kind of job offering you have, you're probably going to get about 100 plus emails with everybody sending over their resumes. You need to know what kind of process you want to go through. You want to make this process as smooth and seamless as possible, so that you're not spending more hours becoming more and more overwhelmed just trying to find someone to assist you, right? And so you need to know what you want your screening process and your interviewing process to look like. And so you want to make sure that you are receiving applications, but now that you know how to screen applications, like what's going to be your filter through process, what's going to automatically eliminate people from the junk without you even having to open an email, without you even having to review their application. What are some of those things that are like, hey, this person emailed me from 0127@gmail.com. You know what I'm saying? Is that an automatic no for you, right? This person didn't put their name in the signature of the email, automatic no. Like, what are those things that are going to say, hey, this person didn't do this, I don't want to work with you, right? You need to figure those things out so you can be able to filter through all of the noise, so you won't become more and more overwhelmed trying to reduce your overwhelm, if that makes sense. Also, during the screening process, check their experience, right? You may be someone who's like, I know some people, they try to put like little sneaky little things into their applications to make sure people have read it in full. So in the middle of their application, they may say, hey, for this answer to this application process, I want you to address this specific thing, or I want you to tell me your favorite color when you're telling me about yourself. Something like that. People do it all the time. So that may be the thing, like, hey, this is going to be the first thing I look for. If they didn't do it, I know that they didn't even look at the full application and they can't follow directions. It's a quick no for me, right? And so from there, now you're looking at relevant experience. What can they bring to the table? Have they done this before, or is this their first virtual assistant job and you're looking for someone who's more experienced, right? What are their communication skills? How are they writing? Are they able to speak in a full sentence in their email, or does it sound like they're from the middle of nowhere and we're going to have a communication gap, right? Also, is it a good culture fit? What is their personality like? What is their application saying based on their personality? For some people, they're asking for videos now. And so from the video, you should be able to tell a lot about how they talk, how professional are they? Are they really integral? Are they able to do what your job application is requiring? And what is their personality like? Also, when it comes to the interview process, so now that you've screened your applicants, you've narrowed it down to about 5 to 10 people, or may hopefully less than that. Now you want to know, like, okay, when I'm beginning to conduct interviews, what questions are you going to ask for your interviews? Is it going to be you, or are you going to hire somebody who can interview better than you? What kind of, is it going to be an application, a screening interview, plus another interview? Because you may have somebody who's going to do the screening interviews for you, who can narrow your list of 5 to 10 down to 3 to 5 or 2 to 4, right? And then you come back on another second interview, and now you're interviewing a person to see if y'all are a good fit for each other, right? And so you want to come up with your questions, your screening process, your interview process. What do you want that to look like? And then also, so you can be able to talk and communicate to people like, hey, I'm looking for somebody I'm going to hire between this. You will hear from me like this. Like, you need to be able to communicate all of those things, because you have to understand these people are now using their time too to try to support you. So you don't want to not communicate either, right? Or they went through this process and then nobody unheard from you. So it's like, now it's like, well, what was all of this for? And so be mindful of other people's time. I think a lot of times we think that VAs have so much time on their hands that they can just sit around and wait for us. So you don't want to be that person who started a process in September, and here it is December, and you still haven't made a decision, you haven't followed up, and then in January you start back on the scene, and now you're like, hey, I'm ready to work with you, but that VA may no longer be available to assist you. Not because they're not good at what they do, it's because they've moved on, because they followed up and you haven't responded. So now they may see you as not a good fit. So remember, it goes both ways in an interview. You're interviewing a person, but they're also interviewing you in the sense if they want to work with you, right? Or they should be. Some people may not. And then we want to go to testing and onboarding. So before you're making a final decision, I know some people, they're like, hey, I want to do a paid test. So they're going to say, hey, I'm going to give you a project to do that's going to help me, and you're going to be paid for it, whether I decide to move forward with you or not. And so you may do something like that, right? So you may say, hey, I want you to organize. I'm gonna just keep using this as an example because it's an easier example. I want you to organize my Google Drive, right? I'm willing to pay you $700 to do it, whether I hire you or not. I just want to know how you work, how efficient are you, how much you communicate. Like, from doing that one simple project, you can learn a lot about somebody. You can learn their process on getting the instructions, making sure everything is clear. You can learn, like, do they even know what they're doing like they said they do? All of those different things. So that's going to be a good idea to give your top candidates a test task if you choose to do so. Just know people are using their time. So if you're trying to give somebody a task, but you're not willing to pay them for their time, and they may not even get an opportunity to actually move forward and work with you, it's not really a win-win situation. You understand? And so this could be a small task, a small project. It could be even something that's like, hey, I'm going to pay you your hourly rate up to 2 to 3 hours, right, for you to do this task. Best candidate win. That depends on your budget, right? But this can help you choose which person you want to work with if you're having a hard time between 2 or 3 candidates. Okay. And then from that test, you want to go to onboarding. What's your onboarding process? Are you like, hey, let's get on the call? Now that I've sent you an email saying I want to work with you, we're going to get started on Monday morning. What's your process of onboarding like? Right. And I don't want you to get overwhelmed. Like I said, there's people who can help you with that. Or it can be even as simple. Like you can choose what you want to do. I'm just giving you plenty of options to choose from. So you may want to do like an orientation call, like, hey, thank you so much. I'm super excited to start working with you. Today is just and hopefully your VA. I know me as a VA, when I begin to work with somebody, I'm doing a call, right? So you may not even have to do this depending on where you are, what level of business you're on. And what type of assistance you're needing. So if you're hiring them as a contractor, more than likely, they're going to be the one who set up a call with you. They're going to be the one to kind of lead the meetings. They're going to be the one who do all those things, right? They're going to ask you the questions that they need to get started. They're going to ask you for all the access to the things that they need to begin the work. They're going to understand what your priorities are, all of the things. And so, yeah, it's going to be like that kickoff call or orientation call. And then you're going to be able to provide the tools and access they need. That all should happen on the first or second call. That way, there's no hindrances or time gaps to get it started. Also, you want to make sure that you are communicating clearly what it is that you need them to do. Making sure you're giving detailed guidelines, making sure you're giving detailed expectations. And that doesn't necessarily mean micromanaging or hand holding. That just mean like, hey, I want you to send an email to this prospective client. I want you to send it from my email address, right? Because they may have their own. And I want you to do X, Y, and Z in the email. Or you may be like, hey, this is an example email that I've sent to people. I want you to model this email for this particular person. And you like just be specific and clear so that people don't have room to make assumptions on what you want. Okay. And then last thing, what is the feedback mechanism? They should be asking for it during the regular check-in meetings and all of the things. But you need to be able to communicate openly and honestly, like, hey, I'm not really excited about where we're going. Hey, you keep messing up on this. Hey, this, like, make it constructive criticism or constructive feedback that they can use and be able to apply the feedback and make changes, right? But then also there needs to be a communication of like, hey, if this continues to happen, this is what's going to happen, right? And just be upfront. That way you're getting the level of support you need, and they know that either they going to step it up or they going to, you know what I'm saying, they're going to have to go. Okay. And so yeah, that's basically it. If you need support with your hiring, we're open to do that. And I say we're, it's me. It's me. My business is called the Empire Effect Agency, but currently it's just me. I've had other people supporting me in the past, but right now it's just me. So if you need help with hiring somebody or doing the screening and onboarding process, let me know. That's one of the services that we offer. More so in like our operations package, but we can also support in our executive assistance package. Just let me know if you want something more custom. We can definitely set up a call and talk about that as well. And so I hope these tips helped you be able to come up with a plan. Obviously, it's just an outline of what you can do, what you should be considering. It's not a comprehensive list. It's not a list that you have to do these things in this way. But yeah, that should help you. See y'all in the next video.